keep our eyes on in this draft because the double rookie bottom lane has been performing well for Excel.
And of course, that was something that was always talked about when Kasing played, was that he had a very unique champion pool. He had champions that he felt very specifically comfortable on, and often those weren't the bigger, more aggressive playmakers. Was always the kind of guy to prefer a Morgana over an Alistar. Mystique's obviously a different story. For now, though, the Alistar going to be banned away. The Jace, the Draven, opposite side, of course, the Lucian, and the Cassio taken off the board. Yasuo, I still don't know, because it was really good in the hands of Special, but I don't know. Nukeduck feels like the kind of guy, once again, he is the rookie killer. And reminder, in case you haven't kept up all season, Special is a rookie. So yep. I feel like if anyone's going to have a counter pick in that mid lane, it would be Nukeduck.
Yeah, Nukeduck would just lock in the Zed and be like, all right, let's take the skill matchup, and I'm going to prove to you who's more skilled. Now, looking at this Cassiopeia ban, I do find it pretty funny here from Origen because it's actually not a mid lane ban for Special. It's a bottom lane ban for Jeskla. He has played that actually pretty recently down there in the bottom lane, so already seeing some options being removed from him, as well as the super strong flex pick Jarvan that I think is almost a staple red side ban on this patch.
And I think often it has to be. It does offer a lot of flexibility in the draft. Of course, doesn't always go your way. We saw in the last game with Vitality how that pick didn't work out so well for them in the end. But interestingly enough, the Kalista going to be the priority pick here. And we've been seeing this a lot in the Origen games where AD carry picks just seem to be so much higher in these drafts.
They absolutely do. And with that Kalista being locked in and the Alistar being banned away, I think there's actually a heightened priority on Galio as a support. Galio plus Kalista is a very strong 2v2 that we see a lot of over in the LCK, and I think that could be a good champion for Mystiques to try and get his hands on.
The Ashe, of course, has a pretty positive interaction up against the Kalista. Very easy to throw that volley out to limit the mobility of the Kalista, but the other big champion here is Mystique's Thresh. It's really good. His first game on stage, obviously, super popped off, and I wonder, do Origen go for the Galio themselves to deny some of the synergy here, or do they take the Thresh and try to limit Mystique's comfort picks?
Yeah, I mean, they could also go ahead and wait on that support pick. Ooh. Even the Tahm Kench. I think Tahm Kench Ashe is such a good duo lane for a lot of different reasons. First of all, it gives you the protection for the Ashe. You know Origen probably isn't going to be focusing on playing around the bottom side of the map, but also that double global pressure is going to give Origen some tools to work with here in the mid game.
And of course, in their game yesterday that we saw from Origen, we saw Patrick getting a lot of benefit from plays that other people were making. In this game, it feels like he's going to be taking more of a backseat role. He won't be that hyper-fed Ezreal that we saw last time around, but more of kind of that arrow bot, that stun bot, some consistent damage in those team fights, but definitely not the same priority role we saw him in previously.
So there we look for more damage on someone like Nukeduck, or maybe a mage like a Vladimir or a Kennen for Alphari on the top side of the map to sort of support the team with some extra damage. Now, Excel went ahead and locked in Lissandra. This is a very strong, very safe mid lane pick here for Special that pairs so well with so many different junglers.
Absolutely true, but what did we see yesterday, Ender? And that was the Swain. Nukeduck is ready for this pick. He's just going to lock it in again. Ooh. He says, wait, I have the recipe for success. We played it yesterday, and now the amount of engage options on this team with the Ashe, following up with the Swain, the ability to pull people, this feels pretty miserable to play against if they are able to get going.
I really like this here from Origen, and I was curious because was the Swain a one-off pick that Nukeduck was just going to pick to sort of add to that total champions played, or was this a legitimate counter that he really liked into Lissandra matchup? It's definitely going to be the latter for him, again, because he can't be punished for his lack of range, as well as that E provides a lot of value here towards Origen, who are already setting up some tools to find picks here in this game.
And now the second ban phase comes in, and it's a lot about the top lane. We see the Aurelia, the Aatrox. I imagine a Renekton ban will make it into the mix, but champs like Kennen, champs like Ryze are still up and available. It makes me wonder, Origen will have the luxury of picking first, and if they're just going to try to secure a priority top laner right off the bat after banning away maybe some of its counter picks.
Yeah, I think Origen probably looked to grab themselves a jungler right away and save that counter pick for last. Specifically, the Rek'Sai has been Cold's go-to champ in the last 4 games he has played. We've seen how dominant it can be just in our last game, and it's been very strong for him to facilitate a strong and powerful early game here for this Origen squad.
And the Rek'Sai going to be taken away does leave the Renekton up and available alongside another pick like Yora. Top lane pool is wide open. Now you're right, they can lock in a jungler here. But will they instead secure a priority pick? A lot of the counter picks to that Kennen are gone. They're going to lock it in for Alphari on the top side.
Yeah, Origen is one of those teams that love to go for that blind pick Kennen, because honestly, nothing really beats this guy in lane. You can say take some matchups like the Ryze and try to farm it out. Even the Vladimir, you're going to fall behind early on, but you can try to match it in terms of overall scaling. But when it comes to the raw 1v1, Alphari should not have any bad matchups here for the Kennen.
will instead pick a pick that has been pretty comfortable in the hands of Expected. Is the Yorick, of course, tuned down a little bit on this patch overall. Cadril, don't do it. I talked to him about it on U4. Apparently, the Urgot jungle really worked. Tito, can't imagine. This would be...
You are getting baited
so
by
baited.
literally every single
It's the
hover.
last day. I'm like,
Oh my god, it's the Teemo!
Yo, I'm waiting. Oh, man. Yay, Sejuani. Yeah, all right, cool. Sejuani, obviously good. Nice synergy in the top side with the extra melee champion up there. And, you know, a lot of comfort picks coming in. We've seen Cadril find some wins on this. Sejuani, I believe, was 2-2 on the champion overall. Now could move up to 3-2 as well as the Yorick on the top side. But the final pick here, the last pick jungler for Origen.
I actually like the Skarner here. I think it's actually a pretty good option. Against the Thresh, it is pretty rough. It's very hard to actually get on to the enemy backline against that champion, but I think it fits into exactly what Origen are going to be trying to do here. They have a lot of pick tools. They're going to be forcing QSSs all across this Excel roster, and against the Sejuani, it's a bit of a softer early game matchup, so the Skarner won't be as punished.
Of course, difficult too with the Swain passive interaction that even if you QSS it, if he right-clicks you immediately, you still get pulled back. So a lot of this CC is difficult to deal with, difficult to interact with, but a lot of stuns and not a ton of knockups. So cleanses are going to be very valuable despite that. Not going to see any on the opposite side. Ender talked a little bit about what Origen are going to look to do. Let's talk about Excel on the opposite side. Now, did not get the luxury of picking their ideal top lane matchup with all these top laners banned away, but that bottom lane still looks like a huge power point.
Oh yeah, Kalista Thresh is very, very strong, especially when you bring a level 6 Sejuani into the picture as well. There's a lot of room here, I think, for Excel to try and play around this bottom lane. We actually even see Mithy going for the cleanse himself on the Tahm Kench because we know he has a giant target painted on his back in this game. It's going to be up to both Mithy and Patrick to stay alive in this bottom lane because the rest of the map, I think Origen are set up for success.
Absolutely. Of course, looking at the draft, important to remember the stakes for this game. Excel, of course, out of playoff contention, but can play the Dream Crush status because if OG win here, they either get second or they play a tiebreaker for second with Splice, depending on the results of our final game. However, in the event that Excel win, OG are out of contention. They will finish the split in third place regardless of the final game's results. And that is some pretty big stakes, the difference between a bye, between guaranteeing a spot in Rotterdam and just being able to pick between 5 and 6. That's pretty huge. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Fourth game of the day. One more game remaining in the regular season before tiebreakers come into account. It is going to be XL versus OG. Now, coming into the week, you would not have expected anything from this matchup, let's be honest. But now, after XL's performance yesterday, I think everyone, even the most diehard OG fans, got this chill. And they might be wondering, can XL do it again?
Can they do it is the big question. We've seen so many upsets already. Today, yesterday, this entire weekend has been filled with many, many surprises. And as we sort of hone in on the end of the regular season and trying to figure out exactly where these teams fall into place, it is now up to Excel to pause the game and make us wait to figure out if OG have a chance to get second.
Ladies and gentlemen, classic tactic. Pausing for legitimate reasons, of course. We'll keep you guys updated on what the issue is. But building more tension, more narrative, more opportunity for us to get flamed on the internet for narrative. It's a good time, Ender.
It's such a good time, especially when you call it out, and now they're gonna be after us. Dracos. What if we talked about the game instead of the narrative?
That's great. That's super good. Okay, so update on the pause. Specials mouse settings, apparently not correct. If you ever played with the wrong DPI, of course, if you're a shooter player, maybe you like it ridiculously low. If you're Vedius, you put it at 3,000 because you're a psychopath. Hopefully you're watching, buddy. You're really good at Osu, but God, it's weird to ever touch your mouse. It's like a nightmare. And that's your Vedius dig for the day. Sorry.
All right.
It's really not fair because he's not here defending himself. Please flame me on Twitter.
That's what makes it so good.
Yeah, back to League of Legends. 1 minute into the game, level 1's coming out, of course, fighting for these Spires. Reminder, if you did not read 9.5 patch notes, cough, Shizuke, cough, you can no longer see when these Spires are taken. They do not interact. They do not really show up on the minimap. So be aware that you no longer give away your jungle positioning if you take one on either side.
Yeah, it's actually a really big deal because before, if you're ever trying to like vertical jungle or counter jungle, like Skarner just wouldn't take the Spire, or else you would know where he was on the map. It was pretty troll that he was revealed, but a very good change to sort of give him some more power. The Spires were also moved a little bit as well, so that you're going to be able to use them on the Gromp, which you already could do if you kited the Gromp just a little bit, but you can see it's much closer, that circle to the actual camp, where Skarner's going to get a whole lot more attack speed, movement speed, mana regen. But the big one for the Skarner is going to be that it was moved on the top side of the map around the red buff, so that you can actually use that clear speed boost of the Spire when you are on the Krug camp.
That's a pretty big deal too. Of course, a little bit of trading down on the bottom side, but I think important to keep attention on the jungle matchup, because Skarner is this champion that when it starts to get rolling, when it takes over a game, is a really big deal. And when you look at both of these junglers on each respective side, these guys are catalysts for action in the early game. Now, Kadril, of course, on the side, for the longest time on Excel, it was if Kadril doesn't do something, nothing happens for this team. And in recent weeks with OG, if OG is getting a strong early game, if they're finding early leads, it is because of Cold.
It absolutely is. I mean, I think we all remember some pretty insane performances on the Gragas few weeks ago. The Rek'Sai in recent weeks has been strong as well. Still, OG are more known for playing a slow pace early game, where Cold isn't necessarily the one looking for proactive ganks, but rather he's tracking the enemy jungler and showing up to counter wherever that guy is on the map.
Yeah, so important to keep our eyes on him as we move later in the game, of course. Similar to Karthus, just very high clear speed, much stronger once he gets to level 6. Can, of course, impact the game earlier on. And now Nuke does go for the pullback once again. Special, though, just barely getting that timing right to make it to safety.
You can see how the E's sort of interact right there, too, and what makes this a really good matchup for Nuke Swain here, because you can delay the passive pullback on the Swain till the very last second of the CC route from his Never move, and it actually means that you can do a lot of punish, and here comes Cold.
Cold on the backside. Kadril is here as well, but his health bar is incredibly low. Does have the luxury of the red buff. Will get some sustain now. They're going to follow up, try to immediately take down the Skarner. Aftershock has now been procced. Buff will fade away, and both sides going to walk away empty-handed, but Cold losing the flash in the exchange.
Yeah, he loses the flash because Special actually just came back off of a teleport, and Kadril was there to protect him, so very good 2v2 working there.
Smithy not nearby. That means he's going to have to use the Devour now, but a lot of damage is going down. They're going to look for the follow-up. Are they going to continue to chase through this tower? It would be a risky call. They'll just look for a little bit more damage down to the Patrick, and now they want to turn this one. That's an acquired taste, but no Devour available. Tongue Latch could look for the stun. He's caught between the wall of the minions. Oh, minion block is brutal. That could have been a winning trade, but they may still turn for Mithy. The cleanse now comes out. The thick skin as well. So many spears still in Mithy, but nothing going to come of it.
Oh, it's so close too, because Tahm Kench against Kalista is this ultimate game of chicken. It's actually a really tough matchup here for the Tahm Kench, because while he's using that thick skin and getting that big shield, all of a sudden you just see more and more spears stacking up into you. So he definitely made the right call there to burn the cleanse. Otherwise he would have been bursted down while he was CC'd from the hook.
And still in the end a very close play. Minions, I'm going to say coming in clutch for OG to make that as close as it was, because definitely a few more autos than needed were tanked out by Mystiques, but really clever positioning on the Thresh to kind of approach from the side to kind of maybe fake the roam there. I didn't see how we got into that bush, but well played here in the early game. And despite everything, still a pretty decent goal lead coming in overall for Origen. And when we see the Kennen in the top side with Kleptomancy, I don't think it's that surprising.
Yeah, you definitely expect to see this one. And this is sort of a matchup where Expect just has to survive the early game. He knows he's not going to have a whole lot of fun up against the Kennen. I don't feel like there's a ton of kill threat until maybe, you know, Sejuani and Yorick are both hitting that level 6 mark. But even then, I think Kadril's main focus is going to be on the bottom side of the map. And with Patrick teleporting in as well, you have to think that Jessica wants to get back off soon.
Ooh, and difficult spot to be in too, because the range on the Swain passive does mean that if Cold lands a stun, very easy for Nuke to get there to follow up. And Spires being larger also means it's a lot harder for Kadril to sit comfortably in his own jungle if Skarner does capture one or two of those. To quote, great Skarner one-trick Captain Flowers, if you fight Skarner on the Spire, you're inting.
I mean, it actually holds up, if I'm being honest, especially if you're going for the manly Skarner build with all the damage and the Trinity Force and the Warrior and all of that. But one thing we are seeing right now from Cold is he's actually soloing out the Drake. And you can do this again because he's standing on that magical circle that gives him so much power. He already got a reset off as well. So he's definitely going to appreciate the added mobility this Cloud Drake will give him when the whole game on Skarner is target acquisition.
Yeah. course, movement speed, attack speed, and mana regen when you are on those spires, now with a Cloud Drake as well, and Predator boots, it does mean that it's going to be that much easier to run face first into the enemy before pushing your R key. Little Scorpion action there. Good news though, Expect is able to get a little bit smaller push back here as the wave does bounce. How far are you going to pick this one up? And we'll see what Expect can get done. Just going to lay down a little bit of vision as we get further into the game. But for now, really no larger advantages outside of that Drake. Expect just putting down enough vision that they can spot out where the Skarner is going now that that level 6 is just around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, OG are just doing a very good job of standard laning right now with a 1k gold lead coming from the Kennen in the top side of the map. You can see mid lane, Nukeduck has a CS lead, jungle, Cold has a CS lead, bottom lane, even in this matchup against the Kalista Thresh that you expect maybe is a little bit tougher for OG's duo. They've gotten 2 turret plates thanks to the teleport that Patrick is bringing to the lane, so they're in a great position right now.
Mithy roaming through the topside jungle just to lay down a little bit of vision. Does have the Summoner Spellbook for the TP. So small vision play, they do get spotted out there, but now they know that Mithy has had the TP and used the TP in that exchange to return to bottom lane. Does free Skarner up, access to the jungle, much safer pathing in, and the backup there of Kadril had been there as well.
And this path here from Cold to sort of split the map is actually really nice here for Alphari on the top side of the map. He can sort of get a free push off at the moment. Expect just going to be forced to farm underneath the tower, and with the safety that the Tahm Kench provides, now that his cleanse is back up and he has all those summoner spells, it's not even like Excel can make a play down here on the bottom side of the map.
And the difficult spot is that Kadril is behind enough in jungle XP that he has to take the blue buff for himself to stay relevant in this game to get closer to level 6, whereas Skarner was able to donate the blue buff over to Nukeduck, meaning that onslaught in the mid lane, all that pressure from Swain just endlessly pushing with the Death's Hand, does make it a little bit more difficult in the game. Only gets worse with that blue buff. But now, of course, Cold spotted out on the top side, so if he did want to go for a lane gank or a play, Expect would be able to sniff it out, but I imagine we'll just see it back and a reset instead.
And now with Kadril sort of approaching level 6 there, you see he hits it right there. He's going to be looking for a play on this bottom side of the map. Now, all the summoner spells are up here for the OG duo, and there is a clutch ward, so just going to clear this one away and try to provide some more pressure.
Trying to find the play, knock him onto Ash, so it comes out, the cleanse comes out. Happy to have that exchange in the end, though. Just the cleanse burn for all that time, however, in the end.
Now, smartly for Kadril, he doesn't use his own ultimate, so he can actually stick around right here. And you can see Cold making a barrel for this bottom lane because he knows this is a possibility, and he knows Excel want to force play around.
Oh, just look at the health bars. This is going to be difficult. The chain CC has to be perfect. They need to kill Mithy before anything can go down, but the fixing comes in just in time to ignite. But now Cold is just going to pull that Kalista out of the fight. Patrick in the middle of everybody throwing down so much damage. First blood, and Mithy still alive. Kadril next on the list. The Skarner slowly but surely chasing him down. Frost shot procking. Not going to be able to grab anything else, and OG walk away with first blood.
Cold does it again. He knows exactly what Kadril is trying to do on that play. Kadril sticking around too long, trying to force that situation, and it's OG with even more control around the spot side of the map. He has the Predator.
Now chasing, it's just going to back off, settling instead for the turret plates. The Ashe going to get a huge income of gold, actually going to be divided between the team this time around. You can see the gold in the bottom lane, already about a 500 lead there, and we look across the other lanes as well. The Kennen Kleptomancy and the CS advantage stacking up, and 400 gold lead for Nukeduck in the mid lane. He might as well have a kill too, and it's just slow, steady leads building up on the side of OG.
Every single player on OG has an advantage over his opponent. It's absolutely massive. Now, we see what happens in this bottom lane. Honestly, it's a fine play here because they already got the flash off of Tahm Kench. The problem is that it took them 25 seconds to set up for this second move. So you have Cold that runs straight from base after stealing away Kadril's own blue buff to come back bottom lane for this counter gank to secure a kill for his team and more plating on that bottom side.
And now you can see Ashe ahead in items, and Jesco in a tough spot where he wants the lane sustain, not to just get poked out by these repeated volleys, but also wants the boots too to extend that leap range from Kalista. Difficult early lane, still has the pressure, at least for now. Thresh will give him that, but it's only going to get harder on the bottom side. Kadril still the man we're looking at. Level 6 is here. The potential for playmaking is here. The ultimate about to come off cooldown. It looks like we'll just try to go for this one, but it could be difficult.
But notice that Origen already pinging out this objective. You have to feel like they sort of know what's going on at the moment. Cold and Nukeduck are going to face check into the Rever, and if they call down Alphari, they could have a really nice flank here. They want to look for that 3v3.
Special on the backside, though. Want to look for this one. Need to delete someone immediately before Alphari gets into the midst of the fight. But Nukeduck now dealing so much damage. The Demon Flare ready and right around the corner. Expect is just going to get burned down here in a second. Nukeduck holding the ultimate for now. They're not even going to need it. Alphari going to grab that one. He turns right back to the next target. lower and lower the Rift Herald gets, but it looks like it's close to resetting. Cadril desperate to smite this one out. Is going to leap forward on the Nuke Duck. They're going to try to burst him down, but the flash out is perfectly timed. Going to walk away. Cadril, no smite available. 700 health. The reset comes in. OG know it's their time to back off and take the advantage.
So much blown there from both sides as Excel tried to finish off the Rift Herald, and it was a late entry into the fight from Alphari that made that one so close right there. Cold almost getting in there and trying to go for the steal, but we're going to get a chance to look at this one more time because, again, it's actually a 3v2 where Cold gets almost bursted 100-0 immediately, but then it's the sustained damage of a Swain and a Kennen within the team fight against, well, once this Yorick goes down, honestly, not that much DPS from a Sejuani as well as a Lissandra. They think they can maybe turn it around for just a second right there, but as soon as Nuke Duck gets out of range of that Lissandra, you can't finish off the kill.
But good on Nuke Duck to respect flash out of there. Saw the potential to get locked up, and of course, damage on Sejuani with that active is pretty decent. Another pause now coming in. We'll keep you updated. Maybe it's more mouse settings, although I doubt it 12 minutes of the game. I feel like we would have figured that one out already. But we'll keep you posted.
I feel like you would have figured that out before the game, too, because, you know, all the pro players have to check their settings before we get in game. Look, and they don't just randomly change.
Yeah, fun fact, Mithy Pause update for you guys at home. Also, fun other update. Ender used to be a referee, so Andy used to be on the playtest team, so the amount of League of Legends things that he gets salty about is high. That's all I'm going to say.
It's true. I am just an angry Redditor.
Oh, Ender. You're so toxic. I love it. All right, Origen have paused. Of course, they do have a pretty significant lead. Keeping you guys up to date, it is 18.4K in the game to 20.3. A single Drake, just a cloud, but one that will matter when you have a Skarner on your team. And as we look across the board, as we look at Cole's face, as he adjusts his microphone, and the face of focus on Alphari, we check in on the items. Protobell, of course, completed for the Kennen. Cinderhulk from Cold, which is not my favorite Skarner build. I'm a Trinity Force Skarner kind of guy. I like to see him one-shot someone or get one-shot. That's my personal preferred way, but, you know, respect to the pro player.
You know, you do what you want in solo queue, Dracos, but this is professional play. We're going to build the Cinderhulk, and it's going to be okay.
And that's fine, because the rest of the team has the damage to back him up. Of course, moments away from a Rod of Ages in the hands of Nuke Duck. And OG now going to grab a Mountain Drake as well. So, advantage is continuing to stack, and taking that Mountain away from Callista is a pretty big deal as we move later in the game. Of course, Callista notorious for that neutral objective control.
Cadril trying to start it up, but the power of the Swain to scout out there with the Vision of Empire means that Cold can just walk into this river one more time. Keep in mind that the top lane has sort of changed now. Expect has pressure in this top lane relatively consistently, so does buy some spaces mid.
Nuke Duck now needs to be careful. They're bringing it back. Mithy is on the way in. He's going to try to devour Nuke Duck. The Ignite is there. It's ticking. Can they take him down? That health bar has to be so incredibly low. The flash forward. The heal is there. Jessica can't get it. Vision of Empire. Good though, good slow, gets the soul fragment as well for Nuke Duck. But it does mean that XL, in the meantime, it was a distraction play. They got the Herald, and it works out. But OG get the bottom tower. And now XL will try to fire back. They know they have the advantage in the mid lane, but Nuke Duck has the ultimate up and available. A TP now coming in as well. Patrick will commit to the mid lane, but have to be careful. Have to respect the dive potential. Cadril does have the ultimate up and available. If I wants to get kicked off, they're trying to pull Lissandra right back to the middle of everyone. They know the ultimate isn't available. Special though with the Aftershock now pulling back. Nuke Duck bringing it back to the team. TP on the backside. This Kennen is going to be massive. They're trying to retreat. Special now taken down. The TP canceled there by the Yorick W, I believe. That means that the play is going to stop in its tracks.
Yeah, he would have had to use the Yorick W right on the edge to get that little side boop on the Kennen to cancel out the TP. Still, it is Special that goes down in the fight. Oh man, Excel really wanting to get some gold off that Rift Herald play, but they only get 2 plates in the mid lane and lose Special for it.
And Patrick just fearless now. Has the play of the Rune King, has such a huge item advantage. He's not afraid to step forward with Mithy there to back him up. And we take a look at this play, and it's just a difficult spot to be in. The Ash Arrow perfectly placed to punish this.
Yeah, it's really nice here. Now, Cadril does a smart thing. He uses his own ultimate on towards Cold to make it so that Special can't get dragged too far away. Look at this W. Blip. He's not very happy with that, but Patrick's still able to snipe out Special on the other side.
That's I'm not a big fan of that interaction. I'll be honest. That feels rude.
He got outplayed.
Push W. What do you do? Nothing. No counterplay. Interrupts a TP every time. All right, well, for OG, their lead does just continue to stack up. Almost 15 minutes into the game, about a 3K gold lead in their favor. Moving up to 4K here shortly, and it does as this gold starts to tick over. Nuke Duck throwing out Vision of Empire, putting Special between a rock and a hard place. Of course, the Nightmare playing against the Fed Swain. If he positions that ability perfectly, you either get hit by the slow and you die from the rest of the team, or you backstep and get hit by the snare. So difficult, difficult champion to play against when he has a lead. And I like that Nuke Duck continues to show us more and shows us answers to some of these more conventional meta champions. And more importantly, Ender, Lissandra just feels like it's sometimes used as a crutch when you don't want to put your mid laner in a skill matchup. And I like that already OG have the call out. Before playouts even start, they say, if you want to put your mid laner on Lissandra, you will be banning Swain or we will smack you.
Yeah, it's sort of the Urgot of mid lane, right? Where you can go even in pretty much any matchup, clear away the waves, even win a lot of the time. Zafari gonna sneak on out of this one.
Yeah.
Cold is right there anyways, so it was very unlikely Excel were going to be able to cash in on a kill, but you can see, again, how the tides have turned in this top side of the map with Cagewell now playing more around Expect. He's going to bring the Demolish in, but he's just going to clear the wave.
Protobelt, focus on clearing the wave. Of course, the Maiden is still there. Will now start to be pulled back. What? Mystiques versus the World.
Wait,
because
Jessica
his
just died.
AD carry is dead, yes. So that's mid lane tower going down. OG slowly but surely running away with this game. Excel are doing things to fire back, but OG just aren't looking to fight them. It's not the most explosive way to build a lead, but they instead are just taking these towers.
Yeah,
the problem on the bottom side.
I mean, the problem for Excel is they're trying to play around their side lane, but OG are just so much stronger with that 4-man core unit. They take a turret in the mid lane, this second tower in the middle as well, and even though it's a very low kill game, this is what we expect out of an Origen match. Slow and steady, but they continue to grind and grind away at you, build up CS leads inside of their lane, and continue to take down objectives.
And I'll be honest, Ender, when we look across this game, this is the ideal circumstance for a Tahm Kench. Oh, Ash, flying forward.
Oh, there was a lot of counterplay right there.
Yep. Can't click the lantern if you're CC'd, turns out. All right.
Yeah, you're going to want to build a QSS pretty fast, Jessica.
And you're already behind, so things only go from bad to worse in that case.
He's a full Runan's behind Dracos.
Yeah, if you showed me this game, I would assume that was the Callista that was that far ahead, but no, it's the Ash.
Yeah, that's not how this bot lane's supposed to go.
Incredibly powerful. The point that I do want to make is Tahm Kench is a champion that I don't always love seeing because it sometimes is really overwhelming, but in these circumstances, Ender, where you have a lead and you can make plays with the Abyssal Voyage where you're roaming from one lane to grab a tower to another lane to grab a tower and the enemy just can't match that pacing, that's when this champion feels so imbalanced. It feels so unstoppable. Like there is no way to claw back against a team that has a Tahm Kench when they're ahead.
Yeah, because you try to force on his carry, well, he just gobbles them up. You try to force on a side lane, well, he can be there with an ally as well to try to punish. So OG continuing to play the objective-styled game. They pick themselves up a Drake on top of that, and once again have complete control over this middle lane. They're going to get the push in. They're going to move that in towards this Baron because it's only 17.5 minutes in. OG still have complete control of the map, it feels.
And Origen, remember, winning this game puts them in contention for second place, keeps them in contention, rather. A win for Fnatic later today would mean that they automatically lock second place, whereas a win for Splice would force a tiebreaker. So this might not even be the final game that OG played today, but dominating this one would be an excellent start on the path to second place.
Now, Origen's comp, I think, is actually just crafted to punish the slightest overextensions here from Excel because you have so many strong tools from range. Think the Vision of Empire, the Ashe Ultimate is an even bigger one for just picking you off the second you go too far away. But you also have this Skarner that can run you down if you step a little bit too far away from your tower. So it's going to be very important for Excel that they maintain vision sort of along the river so that they can see these engagements coming from pretty far away, because that's what Origen is going to be trying to do to them to accelerate the pace of this game.
Yeah, and it's brutal because with the Mountain backing them up as well, they have so many tools to force these objectives if they want to, and now, whereas Excel have been pretty comfortable in the past, just throwing someone on a side lane, matching 1-to-1 like we saw yesterday against Vitality, it's a little bit more nerve-wracking when the global potential is there. Of course, 2 TPs on the side, 3 TPs rather on the side of OG, as well as the semi-global ultimate of the Tahm Kench and the Ash Arrow. Now, Ender, if you're Excel right now, what do you do? Like, how do you get out of this situation?
Well, there is one thing that's going pretty well for them, and I think that that's Expect at the moment. I don't think we've sort of reached this point where even though Kennen has 2 items, it's very difficult for him to all in this Yorick, and I don't think he actually wins that 1v1 because let's face it, Expect is going to be bringing the Maiden to the fight as well. So if Excel are going to be trying to gain some gold back into this game, it's going to be through him in a side lane. You have this bottom lane outer turret that is exposed. I think that before, you know, maybe the 25-minute mark, it's not too difficult to designate some resources and some members down towards the bottom side of the map, whether it's Special because he has the teleport, or even a Cajal or a Mystique to try and play a little bit around this Yorick, or at least buy him space to take down some towers, because that is the truth here for Excel, is that the 5v5 is probably not going to look too good for them.
No, but I like that you bring up the side lane, because the other thing that's important is the 2 potential side laners for OG are both magic damage. Although it's not going to be about side lane, because Tahm Kench is here. Expect now needs to run. Ulti thrown out just for the slow. The Maiden will be sacrificed. Brutal.
So now as XL actually sees so many members commit down towards the bottom side, keep your eye on Mystiques, because what does he do? He walks immediately in to this river area around the Baron because he knows he can't be punished even if he's warding by himself. So he's able to clear away control, although I think he's maybe a little bit too far here, because OG's bottom lane was in the area, but he does get away with it, and the vision denial is going to be good here for Excel, because the only way this game sort of snowballs completely out of control is OG taking away this Baron with the Mountain Drake they have.
And they're now going to look for the setup to do so, grabbing the Spire, the first step on the road there. Mithy, of course, has the sweeper available. Will just drop the control ward. That vision now spotted out, not even going to bother to take that ward down. Nuked up with pressure on the top side as well. Special nice proto belt to both clear the wave and dodge out there on the snare. And this is, these kind of games where it's death by 1,000 cuts, I feel so bad for the teams that have to play against OG. Because for OG, they're chilling. They built that lead in the early game and they're riding it all the way home. They're taking their time, they're playing slow, they know, hey, everything's relatively okay. But on the opposite side for XL, they're like biting their nails in anticipation, like at any moment they could die to this Tahm Kench Ash roam. But nope. OG, just waiting.
Yeah, it's definitely not very fun to play against. I think it actually reminds me a lot of sort of the Korean style of playing League of Legends, where it's less about an explosive, a decisive team fight, and it's more about building up control over the map with a heavy emphasis on vision denial from the enemy team, and that's how you sort of get your advantage. You force the enemy to come into you, you steal away jungle camps, you deny them that, and you continue to see the gold lead balloon just a little bit, minute over minute over minute. Just a little while ago it was 4,000. Now it's at the 6,000 mark here for Origen, and they see, oh, there's another objective that isn't worth enough in the eyes of Excel to contest, so we're going to go ahead and take that one away very easily, and then once again turn our eyes over towards the Baron buff, where Excel may be a little bit more keen to face check into their lack of vision.
OG now, though, instead of going for the Baron, we'll just go straight for that Cloud Drake. Take an additional small advantage here, knowing that they don't feel comfortable pushing for that Baron, but it does give XL access to clear out the vision. Of course, XL themselves, really no option to contest this Baron. Kalista being at 1.5 items, not where they want to be whatsoever. Mithy now running forward with these Mobies. Right, their Merc Treads. It's double Cloud. Caught me off guard. That is a fast Kench. Nukeduck now here as well. Hook going to come in, trying to pull him back, but they need to just disengage on this one. Instead, they're going to try to turn and burn onto Nukeduck, but Cold now pulling back. Patrick over the wall, though. The chain CC coming in, but Special nice. Zonya's to dodge. Pulled back. Cold going to go down. The XL can now turn the fight. Nukeduck has to be ready with his ultimate. Now Fari right over the wall, but here comes Big Cannon all right there. We're going to cut through the lineup immediately. Expect is still alive, though. He has enough MR to survive the burst. Nukeduck still walking forward. Demon Flare pops too early. The flash forward isn't going to trigger it. Expect still alive. The Maiden still in the midst of everything, but a double kill dropping for OG as they extend their lead and barely come out on top in the fight.
Let's be honest, that did not look like a good fight at all here for Origen, but they still won out overall thanks to some massive combos here from Alfari and Nukeduck diving underneath that turret. But maybe for Excel a little bit more hope in this game as they traded relatively even overall.
Ooh. And that's a little bit of hope for Excel. You're right, absolutely, Ender, but still very difficult, and I think a lot of it comes down to Special dodging some of these abilities.
Yeah, I also think just Origen overforce here. First, it's Nukeduck coming in on the side, and then it's Cold who ults back to Lissandra without the damage to follow through, because Patrick and Alfari are relatively late. You can see Alfari doesn't even want to commit to this. He's like, yeah, okay, I guess we're going in, guys. And then the damage comes through, and Patrick still isn't hitting the backline, so they are able to clean up some extra kills underneath this tower. you can definitely get the feeling in the Origen camp that not everyone was aligned, that forcing the dive underneath the tower with Cold was the correct call.
Difficult position there to be, because once again, those are the mistakes that give XL avenues back to the game. Still a lot of tools to keep these fights going, and that fight, very well played once again by Expect. Beautiful use of the Dark Procession to block Patrick out of the fight. That forced him later to flash over the wall just to become a part of it. Up until that point, really was not auto-attacking anyone. But OG still in absolute control. 4 Drakes, massive gold lead, massive tower lead, and now the Tom Kentra ultimate coming down. Do they try to punish Expect? Arrow does connect. Rest of the team now coming in as well. Expect caught between a rock and hard play. 4 members of OG strong here. Jessica is on the backside. They can try to turn it, but Expect getting burned down before he can get anything. The Lantern is there to save him. Expect now on the retreat. The last card as well. Could be clutch. The minions blocking him. They're on the retreat. I cannot believe it. Expect is still alive. That was a great escape. Cadril now the one who has to run.
I thought there was absolutely no way Expect would be able to get out with his life right there, but Mystiques comes in clutch to get the Yorick out of that fight, and Origen left wanting in that engagement because look at the items. They absolutely are looking for a team fight. Patrick at 3 items on this Ashe is going to be doing absurd damage, and all they have to do is execute on that engage and find the 5v5 they desperately want.
Using so many cooldowns in that exchange means that XL are a lot more comfortable to try to take some mid-priority, to try to get a little bit of Baron control, and Expect is here with the team. Once again, not the strongest 5v5, but they're willing to take the gamble. They're willing to start this Baron up, but Alfari is coming in on the backside. Nukeduck's ult is still available. We've seen this one before. If they can burst down Nukeduck, maybe they can turn the fight, but no, the Zonya's there. The healing is now coming in. Ultimate coming out as well. They're going to get the knockup perfectly timed. The Chain CC comes in. Mythy locked up, but no, OG, they are too far ahead. The Swain, too strong of a frontliner, bringing back the Callista. One more round, he says the flash forward. The tongue right there. Double kill for OG, and XL are running.
XL, they grouped up. They thought maybe we can force the 5v4 around the Baron, but Alfari has the TP. Origen are ready to punish. And now Cadril is going back to base. Origen with the Mountain Drake. This is going to be an easy pickup.
Easy for them overall. Arrow thrown out, just insult to injury. No contest options available. Origen extend their gold lead, 8K up in their favor. Baron now backing them up as well. And this is where the systematic style really starts to take over the game.
It is not a fun thing to play against. Now here, XL, Cadril, you can see already took so much damage here from the Baron. I think, honestly, if I'm looking at this, I want Alfari to swing left. I think that Origen were strong enough with the 4 that if they got him on the flank, they could go for a complete ace. But regardless, it is still a big team fight win for them. They're able to snipe off Jessica on the backside, and because Cadril was taken down so low by the Baron, and over the course of that team fight, he wasn't able to try and contest a steal after his team lost that fight.
And just brutal, because while Expect is, of course, still a very strong individual member of this XL lineup and has all that MR, they can ignore him for the most part. There's enough sustain, there's enough damage on the likes of Patrick, and especially on Nukeduck, who's quite tanky at this stage of the game, to just walk past him into that backline to hit the more vulnerable members, the squishier members like this Callista. Nender as well, we checked a look at that Swain Void Staff coming in, so Expect was tanky in the last fight. He's not going to be tanky in this one.
Yeah, definitely not going to be soaking up as much damage from Nukeduck in this next one, but look at this. For Origen, all of their summoner spells are coming back up, and for XL, most of theirs are. Jessica's still going to be waiting on his for a little while, but it makes it so easy to force a team fight with the Kennen flash, with the Skarner flash. They can single out any target they want because there's still no Quicksilver sashes on the side of XL. They are so behind that they decided they have to have the damage. And the QSSs, they're going to be very, very vulnerable from this Origen engage.
Patrick now roaming with Mythy, trying to set this play up. Desperate to take Expect out. Flash out from Expect, though. The Maiden will be taken down. Big loss of DPS in the fight to come, but cool down pretty quick. Hopes to have that one up one more time, but the tier 2 is just going to continue to fall here as Nukeduck holds the pressure on the top side. They're trying to find the pick. Mystiques hits the minion. Now they're trying to find the fall. The box comes out, but it's not going to connect. Mystique's extending the play, but OG are going to be here on the flank. Predator available. Alfari ultimate. Where is it going to go? It's just going to flash right in the midst of everything. They're looking for a single pick, but XL have disengaged beautifully. They are holding on for now. Trading a lot of summoners there in the end. The hook going in on a cold squishy member. Mythy's there to save the day. There to deny the play. Special has to be careful. His ultimate's still up and available, but a perfect use here could be crucial.
Now XL, they got some ultimates and a flash off the Kennen, but they're still not high health enough. Origen walk into the base, they take down an inhibitor, and they can look for more here. They're still on the Nexus.
Expect is on the flank. What can this Yorick get done? Now the team fighting champion, Nuke comes once again, but is he going to be able to be burned down? Tries desperately once again, has the Zhonya's up and available. He heals so much, they cannot kill him. The frontliner that they need, he may not be a tank, but he is tanky enough. And that right there is disgusting to watch. OG cutting down XL in their own base. The Baron buff still up and available. One Baron is all it's take. They got 35 seconds to spare on that buff. And OG moving up to contest second place.
The Origen machine continues to look well polished here. Once again, slow and steady wins the race for this team as they take every small victory, continue to build up a larger and larger advantage, and just kill you slowly.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you are following along with your foldy sheet at home, the last fold of, second to last fold of the day, this one's really hard. You can just read it, there's 4 options left. Should Splice win the next game, we will have 3 tiebreaker games, all being played tomorrow, with game 1 starting at 4 p.m. Central European time. That is 3 different tiebreaker games. Fnatic will lock third with a win against Splice, and at the same time send Origen to Rotterdam, locking them into that second seed. Fnatic themselves can no longer get second place. It stands between Origen and Splice after that win. And crazy circumstances. If Splice win, OG versus Splice for second place, Fnatic versus Vitality for fourth, Schalke versus SK to see who will get sixth. Whew.
Man, Dracos, I love the fact that our next game, the official last game of the regular split before tiebreakers, is going to mean so much. And it's because, once again, Origen came up and showed up one more time. They've just been so consistent in the second half of the split, playing very, very clean League of Legends. And it's a thing of beauty to watch. And this team looking very, very good going into playoffs.
Absolutely is. And I think just, once again, clean, controlled. They're not mixing it up. They are not showing us, different shades or inconsistency. They are showing us one consistent style. They choke you out, 1,000 cuts, whatever analogy, whatever metaphor you want to use, you understand. It's that clean game, it's that macro game, taking the 80% plays, not risking anything on those 50-50s.
Not at all. This team does it by the book, Dracos, and I think the scariest thing about this team is thinking forward to the playoffs. How do they look in a best-of-5 when you see Nuke flex his champion pool, when you see the prep when they focus on just one team coming into a week? That's got to be a force to be reckoned with for sure.
Oof. Well, while you might say the LAC is scripted depending on next game's result, and if we have 3 tiebreakers, this is definitely not the case for Kia Player of the Game vote. This time, it stands between Colt, Patrick, and Alfari. Of course, hard to say.
I mean, a lot of people watching, they track the KDAs, and sorry, not Alfari. Patrick's KDA was absolutely sick
9-0
in that
game.
Woo!
Up
Man, it was doing some damage.
Oof. It was clean. It was absolutely clean. Across the board, we can check once again. 4-14, only giving up 2 towers as well. So the kind of dominance we expect.
Hello.
That's the camera guy. He's getting ready for an interview. Over there, off to the side, we've also got another camera over here. Beautiful look behind the scenes into the LEC. And it looks like we might be talking to a certain mid laner. And we've got Lore standing by to do so. Let's see what he has to say.
Thank you very much, Dracos, and thank you, Nuke, for joining me. You guys are on the verge of securing second place. We know you played finals last year versus Schalke. What are your thoughts on another title shot this year in Holland?
Yeah, if I would have another title shot, that would be amazing. And I think right now I feel like we can actually win it. Last year I felt like Fnatic were, one step over us, and we kind of all knew it, and we had to, get kind of lucky or perform really well on stage to win. But this time I think if I go into a final, I will be confident, yeah.
And it may have something to do with your performance, because you've been instrumental in Origen's games lately. What do you think about your shots as having MVP at the end of the split?
That I have MVP? I think probably Caps is going to get it. I think I did a pretty good split with very few bad games, so I think maybe I would be second, third runner-up, perhaps if I'm lucky. But I think people are going to vote for Caps.
Very mannered of you. We'll see about that in a few weeks. Now, Fnatic is about to play against Splice, and if Splice wins this one, you guys will be tied for second place. What do you think about Splice's shots about winning this one?
I think Fnatic is a much stronger team. They are better at everything Splice does, I think. So I think they will just win. Better lanes, better macro, better late game, better everything. Go Fnatic!
Go Fnatic, Fnatic fan here. Obviously, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, it's going to be the last game of the day before potential